Good evening and welcome to this week's edition of Inside Red Dragon Sports. I'm your host, Geoff Hassard, Assistant Director of Athletics and Sports Information Director here at SUNY Oneonta. And tonight we're going to feature our men's lacrosse program as they embark on another season. So please join me after the break where I'll be joined by tonight's first guest, head coach Dan Mahar.
We are celebrating the second annual Division III week, April 8th through 14th. The NCAA's largest division is home to more than 175,000 student athletes who dedicate themselves to rigorous academics, competitive athletics, and the opportunity to pursue other passions on and off campus. This special week is an opportunity for us to observe and celebrate the impact of our student athletes on our campus and in the surrounding community. During the week, this Division III member will be holding at least one activity highlighting academic achievement, athletic accomplishment, or campus and community involvement. We already conduct recognition programs and community service activities throughout the year, but Division III week is the perfect opportunity to build on these efforts. These types of activities will be happening on campuses across Division III, having a powerful impact on the division's efforts to tell this story across the nation. Look for more information about Division III week activities on this website, and please join us in celebrating our outstanding Division III student athletes.
Welcome back to the show. Joining me now is head men's lacrosse coach Dan Mahar. Welcome back to the show, Dan.
Thanks, Geoff. Good to be here.
As we open up another season, you guys are starting to practice in your preseason. Why don't you tell us how it's going so far?
So far, so good. You know, we were really incredibly fortunate last year. We were only indoors one day last year because of the light winter that we had. Yeah. But we've been indoors a few more times this year. But the spirits have been great. Attitude has been great, which is really a focus area for us. And we got a really good squad. I think we got a lot of talent this year, and so that certainly lends itself to more successful drills and things like that.
Right. Now, how does that change the philosophy? I mean, obviously when you're outdoors, you know, you can work a lot more full field type drills and things like that. I mean, so how do you modify to get indoors?
You know, we have some drills that are indoor specific things, and you know, I think we can concentrate a little bit more on fundamental type things as well as some conditioning things. And so there's always, we're fortunate, or one of our assistants is an ex-military guy, and he handles a lot of our conditioning, and you know, you give him a closet space and he can get some stuff done. So you know, we roll with the punches and you know, kind of deal with the circumstances, and you know, the other piece of it that we kind of keep reminding ourselves is we're in the same boat as most of the teams that we're competing against. So right. You know, if we're dealing with some tough weather, it's the same as you know, a lot of our opponents. So right. You know, we manage it as best we can. Now we
really don't talk a lot about our assistant coaches here at Oneonta. Now you've had a couple. I mean, Andrew Daly is in his second season, and Jim is in his fourth year with us. Yep. Why don't you talk about the importance of having good assistant coaches?
You know, it's critically important, especially with a team with the roster size that we have. I mean, we have, you know, from one year to the next between 35 and 40 guys on the team, and really to kind of get a one-on-one coaching type ratio, it's not as easy to do in a sport as, you know, as small as like basketball or tennis or something like that. So to have competent and you know, dedicated assistants like we do, and as you know, we don't pay them a whole lot, but for them to have the background that they have and bring the different skills that they bring to the table, we're very, very fortunate. And you know, as you said, Andrew's in his second year. We're hoping to have him for at least another 2 more years, which really gives us a lot of consistency with, you know, our philosophies and what we're trying to do moving forward. And so, you know, between the two of them, you know, they have some different philosophies, and all three of us from one day to the next don't always agree. But I mean, I think that's what challenges us to kind of make sure that we're, you know, we have a checks and balances sort of a system. And so, you know, I think we have a good mix and a good group that we have, and hopefully add a few more pieces as we move forward.
I was going to say that. I mean, each one of you kind of has a different kind of a personality and complement each other.
Right.
I mean, how does that shake out when you're, you know, looking at potential recruits? I mean, you get videos of, you know, kids, they all want to come here. And
you know, that's the one area that I think that that we do see eye to eye on pretty consistently. And I think the growth of the sport and kind of the direction of the sport, and we were talking earlier about some of the rule changes and some of the philosophies that lacrosse is emphasizing. I think that Coach Daly specifically and I, as we're out recruiting and we're looking at players, we're looking at the same sort of things. We're looking for athletes. We're looking for guys that can get up and down and can really play and play at the pace that we want to play at. And so, fortunately, we've been pretty consistent with that.
Right. Now, let's talk a little bit about some of those rule changes, because it'll affect the way people coach and some of their strategies. How are you incorporating those in, and do you think it plays to our strength?
I do think it plays to our strength. I mean, we've really tried to initiate a philosophy where our midfielders are two-way guys, for the past few years. When I first got here, we had a lot of specialists in terms of defensive middies and offensive middies, and, the rules at the time certainly lend itself to opportunities where you could get substitutions and things like that. Those have curtailed significantly, but I think philosophically we've kind of been hopefully ahead of the curve with the players we've been trying to develop. And I think one of the guys you're going to speak with here shortly is a great example of a guy who can do it at both ends of the field, as well as the face-off X and all those types of things. And we're really trying to develop all of our players to be able to have that sort of skill set. So, specifically the rule changes with regards to horns on the sideline. So there was a free substitution anytime the ball went out of bounds on the sideline. That's now over with, so it's really going to be quick restarts and not going to have the same opportunities to get guys off the field and new guys on the field in situations this year. So again, I think that even though it certainly poses some challenges and some different things that we need to work on in terms of practice and practice planning, I think it also helps with regards to the athletes that we're trying to recruit and the philosophies we've kind of had in place and the direction we've been trying to go for the past few years.
Right. Now, lacrosse is an athletic game. People moving. You want them to move up and down. Kind of a standalone game. It's not a lot of fun to watch when people are just kind of standing and not really doing much. So you think these new rules will help move the game along, keep it flowing?
Yeah. I think that if you look kind of over the past 5 to 10 years at college lacrosse, I think more and more goals are being scored, certainly in man-up situations, but even more so in the unsettled and the transition sort of situations. Defense have gotten so effective that in a settled 6-on-6 half-court situation, if you will, it's difficult to generate goals out of that. And so obviously to increase the pace and increase the number of opportunities for transition in unsettled situations with some of the rule changes that they have in place, I think is going to lend itself to a faster paced game and more scoring and more excitement and at the same time more challenges with regards to coaches and managing all that. So but again, hopefully we're in a good spot to manage
so
that.
as they want to work on potentially maybe more goal scoring, coaches have to kind of rethink, well, now we got to work on transition defense and get those guys in there so that we don't give up some of those uneven goals, a 3-on-2 or something like that.
Exactly. And again, we want to take advantage of the opposing team's offensive players on the defensive end, and maybe they're not prepared to play defense in that situation. So we want to try and expose them by having our defensive players be very offense oriented, so we can hopefully expose that. And so, but it's a chess match, just like everything else.
Let's talk a little bit about this year. First, why don't we talk about maybe some of the younger players before we get into some of the older ones? Who are we looking for this year? Who are some of the names?
I really feel like, Geoff, I think we have the best freshman class that we've had in a long, long time. I go back to when I was a senior here, the freshman class at the time, which is the class of 2000, with Brian Dooley and Will Matheson, Will Capiello, Eric Vollmer, Tom Sansone. Those guys were really integral in terms of elevating our program to the next level. I think this freshman class that we have right now is as deep and as talented as that one, if not stronger. We have some guys that are going to step in and be important pieces for us right away. Devin Casey's going to play attack for us. Connor Coyle, Wesley Banks is going to be a long stick midi for us. We have an All-American Brandon Hickey who's going to compete for significant playing time as well as several other guys that are all very competent, very, very smart players. And so like I said, I'm very, very excited about the new guys.
Now, mixing those in with the older guys that have been with us, I mean, certainly we're going to have 2 of them on here that have been important members of our team for 4 years, and some of the other guys, why don't you talk a little bit about some of the upperclassmen that
I think the 2 guys that you're going to speak with are really great guys to talk with. They're 2 of our captains, 2 of our seniors, and over the time they've been here, they've really developed into great leaders, and they're captains for us, of course. And so, not just in terms of their leadership, but they are able to kind of add the leadership piece as well as the on-the-field production. I mean, Chris has been a great goalie for us, really stepped up last year and had a tremendous year, was our team MVP as voted by his teammates. And I mean, we all know about Jimmy and the success that he's had, and he's clearly one of the top 5 players in the country right now. And so, I think those are the 2 guys you start with. We have a junior captain in Dan Stern who's really turned the corner this year and going to be the quarterback on our offense in terms of the attack. And we got some other guys that have been here for a while. Nick Cirillo is going to be an important part of what we're doing. His brother Scott is playing defense and going to be integral as well. And so I think all those guys who've kind of been here, for some of the transition, give us a nice blend of returning players with some maturity and some experience, as well as some of the new guys that we have with a lot of ability.
Now, so for us, we're actually in a pretty good spot with having that many people that are actually, can be qualified leaders, what you call quality guys that kind of know the routine and how things work. To help those newcomers come in, how important is that for us?
It's critical, and again, especially in a situation this year where we have these talented freshmen that are going to be on the field right away. Their skills put them in that position, but again, at the end of the day, they're still freshmen, and even though they've had some practices now, and they've had some scrimmages now, and they've got those pieces under their belt. The first game is going to be the first game, and to have kind of that presence there of the leadership that we have and guys that are out there on the field and competing at the highest level to kind of help take these guys under their wing and keep them confident and keep them going, I think is really a pretty big part. So,
what are your goals going into the season as we look ahead?
We're trying to win the conference. I think that's been our goal for the past few years, and I think we're getting closer. And I think this is a year that, like I said, we have one of the best players in the country on our team, and he's been able to, I feel like this year more than any other year, elevate his teammates more to try and play at that level, and I'm hoping that that's going to lead us to a conference championship. And so I have every confidence that we can get there this year. We have the preseason number one team in the country in our conference, so we got to beat them. But I have confidence that we can accomplish that goal this year, and we're going to give it our best shot.
Well, we certainly wish you good luck and we hope you can get outside soon here with the weather. But we know that the season will be exciting, and I'm looking forward to actually the new rules to watch the game flow a little better.
Right.
I certainly hope that we'll take advantage of the skilled people that we have. So, well, thanks for coming by tonight.
Thanks, Geoff.
All right. Well, I'd like to thank head men's lacrosse coach Dan Mahar for coming by tonight. And after the break, I'll be joined in studio by senior captain Chris Miles.
What makes D3 special is the ability to participate in my team and within the broader community.
The perfect ending to a perfect season.
Being a D3 student athlete has completely expanded my life.
I learned how to lead. I really found a voice.
What time is it?
It's more about the experience rather than just a sport itself.
Without the experience of being a Division III student athlete, I wouldn't be the person who I am today.
NCAA Division III. Discover, develop, dedicate.
Welcome back to the show. Joining me now in studio is senior captain of the men's lacrosse team, Chris Miles. Welcome to the show, Chris.
Hi, nice to see you.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm a fifth-year senior. I transferred in here my sophomore year academically from OCC, and but when I came in, I had freshman eligibility, and I'm from Fayetteville Manlius High School up in Syracuse. It's
crazy lacrosse place.
Yep,
yeah, lacrosse.
Big. We play West Genesee every year. They're in our league up there, and so every year they're a powerhouse.
So do you think playing at such a high level in high school has allowed you to succeed in college?
Definitely. I can definitely see how the knowledge that was imposed on me coming up and being from definitely a solid program, it definitely helped me coming down here.
Now, why don't you talk a little bit about your, you're entering your 4th season for us. So you're starting goalie. You had a great year last year, like Coach Mahar said earlier, team MVP. What was that to be a leader on our team? What's that like for you?
Oh, it's a huge thing. Just as being a goalie, you're basically the quarterback of the defense. You're expected to be a leader just through that. But it's exciting. It's fun. I like it. It's a challenge every day. There's something new. There's always new things coming up each day. But all in all, I absolutely love it.
Now, what kinds of things on the field and off the field? Obviously, like you said, you're the quarterback of the defense, so you're pretty vocal, I'm sure, out on the field. You got to tell guys where to go and where people are located. Is that your personality anyway?
Actually, I'm kind of a shy person off the field. I really, off the field, I'm really not much to be in the spotlight. I'm kind of more quiet, reserved, I guess. But you get me on the field, and it's a whole different ball game.
Now, how do you like to contribute off the field? Coach Mahar talked about, we have a pretty talented group of freshmen this year, and certainly, lacrosse at this level is still new, even though, he feels that their skills will certainly put them, on the field, as he said. How do you feel yourself helping with some of the younger players as they come into the program?
Well, when I came in as a sophomore, I think that the seniors that year, Steve Loesch, Matt Harvey, some of those guys really did a phenomenal job of welcoming me to the team and made it, just a home away from home. It was a great experience to come here. And my biggest thing that I'd like to do for the class that came in this year is, just extend that welcome to them as well, and make them feel welcome, and let them know that we want them here. We're so happy to have them here, and just keep expressing that to them.
And do those younger players look to you, for advice?
I'd like to hope so. I definitely have. I'm a business economics major, and a couple of them came up and asked me about teachers and classes and stuff like that, and I've helped them out with that and recommending certain professors. But yeah, they definitely do come up and ask.
Now, what kinds of memorable experiences for you on campus during your 4 years? Maybe athletically and academically, some of the things.
Academically, I definitely, I'd say, just a big thing about the school is just the high standard. Going to a community college my freshman year, it wasn't really the highest academic standard, that I was held to there, and coming out here just to know that. When I graduate, I'll have a phenomenal degree and a great program, and that's a big thing for academics and just athletics. I love to play lacrosse. Every game is huge to me. Playing in the SUNY conference, playing the phenomenal teams. Cortland's, like Coach had said, they're preseason #1 in the country, and that's exciting to know that we're gonna get to gear up and go against them.
Now, when did you start playing lacrosse?
Oh God, I've had a stick in my hand ever since I can remember. I can remember, throwing my ball to my dog in the backyard with a lacrosse stick. Just playing. I always grew up playing in the youth leagues and stuff like that. But basically since I could remember.
Did you play any other sports?
I played football and basketball in high school up until got to a point where got kind of some pressure to make a decision on a sport, and I chose lacrosse, obviously. So.
Well, certainly don't regret that.
God, no.
No, that's great. Passion. You got to be passionate about what you do, and certainly being a Division III athlete. What has that meant to you to be able to compete at this level?
It's just something special. It's just great to know that. I had heard a stat one day that only 3% of high school athletes go on to be college athletes, Division I, II, or III, and just to know that I'm in that small percentage to go play on this type of stage is just really it's exciting.
Well, and what are you looking forward to this spring?
This spring, winning. We're gonna go out, we're gonna get after it, and the failure is not acceptable. So.
Well, we certainly hope that, and we know that you'll make sure that your teammates carry that same kind of passion that you have for lacrosse, and it certainly shows on the field, and we do wish you good luck this year as we go through the season, and then hopefully in May we'll be playing some more games this year.
Definitely.
All right, well, thanks for coming by.
Thanks for having me.
All right, well, I'd like to thank senior Chris Miles for coming by tonight, and after the break we'll be joined by senior captain Jimmy Van de Veerdonk.
a million places you'd never consider texting. So why would you do it while driving? Leave risky driving to the professionals. Stop the texts, and together we can stop the wrecks.
Welcome back to the show. Joining me now is senior captain of the men's lacrosse team, Jimmy van der Veerdonk. Welcome to the show, Jimmy.
Thanks for having me.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I'm a senior captain from Putnam Valley, communication studies major, and a midfield on the lacrosse team.
Now, certainly, you've had a pretty awesome career up to this point.
Yeah.
Last year, you were an All-American, SUNY Player of the Year. When you came to college, did you think those kind of accolades would be kind of in front of you?
I mean, in high school, as a junior and as a sophomore, I really didn't step up much. But in my senior year, I really developed as a player and got All-American in high school. So coming into college, I expected the most out of myself. And even though last year I got second-team All-American, I was actually pretty surprised to be honored as, a player to get that high of an award.
Now, the expectations. Certainly. You're the catalyst. You're the guy that gets us to go. You can play both ends of the field, and
Yep.
What's that like for you? For that kind of pressure. Do you feel the pressure? Is it, hey, let's just go, guys?
When I get on the field, I'm just in a mindset that I just play. I know what I have to do, and I just do it.
Right. Pretty determined. We
Yeah.
certainly see it. There's only been a few players, I think, during the 15 years that I've actually watched, the lacrosse, of somebody who can win the face-off, because you win like nearly 70% of your face-offs, which is pretty phenomenal. But then you can just take the ball and go right to goal and score. It's like, there were a couple times there last year where you might have scored within 5, 6, 7 seconds of the opposing team scoring. Is that just? How do how did you get to that point?
When I was younger, I just started off as a face-off guy and developed. And being at the college level, I honestly, that's part of my game. If I didn't have face-offs, I would still be a great asset to the team. But being dominant on the face-off X is a great thing, and that's probably my most favorite part of the game, is because it's a grinder position.
Right.
You get the ground ball, you come down and just shoot. My face-off motto is FOGS. Honestly, it's face-off, go score. Most
Right.
face-off guys are face-off, get off the field. But
Right.
I like to be in the transition of the game and win all the face-offs I can.
Now, is there? How do you practice to be a better face-off guy? There's so many rules now, and of course, with some of the rule changes, with you move before the whistle, you lose the face-off. There are things that the officials are looking for. How do you really perfect that skill?
Well, in the past, I've actually, as funny as this sounds, I downloaded from YouTube a whistle. There's like a bunch of different whistle cadences, because each whistle, every ref has a different time whistle.
Yeah.
It's like down, set whistle, or there's a gap in between. So I've usually just practiced in my room. But now that we have a couple other guys on the team that are really good at facing off, I go against them, and it makes me much of a better player and better at facing off.
That's interesting to hear. To be able to utilize YouTube, right?
Yeah,
Everybody's on YouTube.
exactly.
You would think that you would never find something like that on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
Going into this season, certainly, again, leader, offense, and you play great defense. A lot of ground balls. What kinds of things are you looking for, within our team this year?
My expectations and goals every year have been the same. It's to win, the conference title and then go on to the national championship. Honestly,
Right.
I expect the most.
Now, with a lot of young guys, talented guys coming into the program, being in a leadership role, not that you really weren't a leader before, but certainly, people do look to you to, for guidance and maybe things. How important is that for you?
In the past, I've been one to lead by example.
Right.
But, this year I see myself as being a vocal leader, and I had to step up to that position, along with my co-captains Chris Miles and Dan Stern. Dan Stern is more of the guy who will lead by example, how I have done in the past, and me and Chris are more of the vocal leaders. And I have to be everybody's best friend, but
Yeah.
at the same point I have to be everybody's worst enemy.
Yeah. Now, that's kind of a balance that you have to do, the balancing act. Your athletic life, you played other sports in high school. What
Yeah.
other sports did you play?
I played football for 4 years, and I swam for 2 years.
Swimmer.
Yep.
How do you think those sports helped you to get to where you are now?
Just being part of a team, not only playing the sport, but being part of a team is like a family, being with other guys, being able to rely on them for stuff on and off the field, and like I said, just being part of a family is great.
Right. Now, what are some of the things that you'll remember most? You know, not from here, you know, not just from here, but also being a student athlete in Division III.
Being a student athlete, you know, being able to keep up with my work and being an athlete at the same time. You know, lots of people come into college and try and be an athlete and a student at the same time, and they only last a couple of years, but it's rare to find guys that, you know, finish out their 4 years, and I'm really proud that I've done that.
Right, and we certainly look forward to another great year of men's lacrosse here with you, you know, leading the way, and Chris certainly is going to help us on the back end. It's sort of like we got the front end and the back end together here today, and I think that's great to be able to see two perspectives from two of our team leaders, and we certainly wish you the best of luck this year.
All right, thanks, Geoff.
Well, thanks for coming by. I'd like to thank members of the men's lacrosse program along with head coach Dan Mahar for coming by tonight, and certainly you can follow the men's lacrosse team all spring long at www.oneontaathletics.com. Please become a fan of our Facebook page and follow us on Twitter. I'd like to thank you for joining us tonight, and we'll see you next time on Inside Red Dragon Sports.